There's a decision you've been carrying for months, one you keep almost making and then setting back down. Every day you postpone it, you pay something quiet for the delay. A little less room to breathe, a little more of yourself folded away to stay safe. You might notice you've gotten good at asking for less, so nothing more gets taken from you. 4 signs are about to hear, by name, exactly what tomorrow does to that decision. Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, your names are coming. Here's the tension. This transit can feel like pressure closing in, yet the tradition built around Sun in Leo reads it as permission, not punishment. Both are true. Stay, and you'll see how. Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio. These 4 carry this week's real weight, and I'll open each of their doors before anyone else's. But first, the fact underneath all of it. A total solar eclipse lands in Leo at 20 degrees 03 on August 12. The exact moment is 17:45 UTC, with the Sun meeting the Moon at 20 degrees 07 Leo, degree upon degree, both locked to the same fire. This isn't a single-day flare. The window opened August 9 and closes August 15, 6 days of live influence. Tomorrow, the eclipse peaks exactly on schedule. In the traditional reading, an eclipse in Leo doesn't whisper, it interrupts. It sits on whatever you've been managing quietly and asks you to stop managing it. Leo governs identity, the right to be seen without apologizing for it. When an eclipse lands there, the traditional read says, whatever role you've shrunk yourself into to keep others comfortable gets exposed. Astrologers reading this configuration describe it as a threshold, not a gentle nudge, the kind of sky event that forces a choice you've been avoiding out into the light. Stars whisper secrets, but this week they're not whispering. The tradition also holds that eclipses don't create your situation, they reveal what was already unstable, what you were holding up with both hands and calling fine. In traditional astrology, Leo rules the 5th house from Aries, the house of creative self-expression and what you produce when you're not performing for approval. For Taurus, this eclipse activates the 4th house, home, lineage, the foundation you stand on when no one's watching. For Aquarius, it's the 7th house, committed partnership, the mirror that shows you what you're actually choosing versus what you say you're choosing. And for Scorpio, the 10th house lights up, your public standing, the structure others see, the reputation you've built, or the one that's been built around you without your input. This is where it gets personal, because the 4 signs I named don't experience this the same way. One of them is about to feel it first, hardest, in the exact place they've been shrinking the most. Traditional readings of solar eclipses emphasize beginnings that require endings. You can't step into the new role while still performing the old one. The degree matters here. 20 degrees 03 Leo sits in the 3rd decan of Leo, which classical astrologers associate with Mars, courage that's been waiting for permission it doesn't actually need. Leo, this eclipse happens in your own 1st house, the house of identity, the traditional seat of self. Wait, let's be precise about what that means practically. The eclipse activates money and material security for you, specifically, the resources that let you take up space without asking permission first. For months you've probably priced yourself low, a smaller ask, a smaller rate, a smaller share, because some part of you may have believed that wanting less kept you safe from losing everything. That belief has a cost, and you've already been paying it. Every underpriced yes has quietly taught the people around you what you'll accept. In the traditional reading, this house governs what you own and what you feel entitled to keep, and an eclipse here doesn't ask you to grow slowly. It asks for a decision. Here's the concrete move. Before August 15, name one number, a rate, a request, a refusal that you've been rounding down, and say it at its real size, once, to one person. You might feel your throat tighten right before you say it, and that's worth noticing, not fixing, not louder, not longer, just the true number, spoken plainly. If you let this window close without naming it, the pattern may simply repeat, another year of asking for less, so nothing gets taken from you, when nothing was ever going to be taken from you for asking for enough. The eclipse doesn't hand you money. It hands you the one conversation that decides whether you keep discounting yourself by default. Traditionally, what's claimed under this house in an eclipse window tends to set the terms for a long stretch afterward, which is exactly why waiting costs more here than almost anywhere else in the chart. Right now, this window is open. It closes in 3 days, on August 15. What you do with Leo's decision before then is the difference between a rate you'll defend for a year and one you'll quietly resent. Aquarius, the eclipse falls in your 7th house, the house of committed partnership, one-to-one bonds, the people you've let close. This one lands squarely on close relationships and commitments, and it doesn't land softly. You've likely been avoiding one direct conversation with someone specific, not because you don't know what you want, but because naming it might change the shape of the relationship. And some part of you would rather keep the peace than risk the truth. You might catch yourself rehearsing the conversation in the shower and never having it out loud. In the traditional reading, this house is where the mirror sits, the partner who reflects back what you're actually choosing, not what you're saying you're choosing. An eclipse here forces the reflection into focus. The concrete action. Before August 15, say the one sentence you've been editing down to something smaller and safer. Not an ultimatum, the actual sentence, at full size, to the actual person. If it's, "I need this to be mutual," or "I don't think this arrangement works for me anymore," say that exact sentence, not a softened cousin of it. Skip this, and the arrangement you've been quietly tolerating may just continue by default, not because it's right, but because silence reads as consent. And no one renegotiates a relationship, no one asked to renegotiate. The cost of not choosing here isn't dramatic. It's just more months of the same imbalance, dressed up as patience. Traditionally, an eclipse in this house marks turning points in partnership, commitments made or ended more than any quiet year period around it. This next part isn't for everyone. If your home situation already feels settled, steady, nothing pulling at it, you can let your attention drift for a moment. But if there's a house, a room, or a family tie you've been avoiding dealing with, stay close. This is built for you. Taurus, the eclipse lights up your 4th house, home, family, the roots you stand on, in the traditional reading of this placement. This is squarely about home, family, and roots, and for you it rarely stays abstract. It shows up as an actual address or an actual relative. Maybe it's a living situation you've outgrown, or a family dynamic you keep smoothing over instead of naming. You might feel unusually tired around this topic specifically, more than the rest of your week, worth noticing as a signal, not a diagnosis. In the traditional reading, the 4th house is the private one, what happens behind the closed door, the foundation nobody else audits. An eclipse there tends to expose whatever's been structurally unstable at home, whether that's a living arrangement or an old family role you never renegotiated. The concrete move inside this window, have the one conversation about the living or family situation you've been deferring with a parent, a partner, a sibling, whoever holds the other end of it. Say what you actually want the arrangement to look like. Not the version that keeps everyone comfortable, the real one. Leave it unaddressed, and the old arrangement may just harden into the permanent one, not through anyone's decision, but through nobody deciding anything at all. That's the quiet cost. The default becomes the answer, simply because you let the window pass. Traditionally, this house governs what you build your life on, which is exactly why an eclipse here asks for a foundation you chose, not one you merely inherited. Scorpio, this eclipse activates your 10th house, the house of standing, reputation, the structure others can see in the traditional framing of this transit. For you, this reads through money and material security, but specifically the public, structural kind, your rate, your title, your position in a hierarchy. The person who didn't ask for the raise might still be doing the same work at the same rate, watching someone newer get credited for it. The relationship that needed renegotiating might still be running on the old terms, with resentment quietly compounding under the surface. In the traditional reading, an eclipse doesn't repeat its exact offer. What it opens, it eventually closes on its own terms, whether or not you walked through. Energy flows like water, toward whatever channel you actually dig, not the one you meant to dig. The version of you that speaks the real number, the real sentence, the real ask, before August 15, might simply be living a different year than the version who waits. Traditionally, the effects of an eclipse can unfold over 6 months, but the decision that sets those effects in motion happens inside the window, and this one closes in 3 days. You don't need permission to take up the space you've been asking around instead of asking for. The cosmos guides our paths, but tomorrow, the choosing is yours. If this named something you've been carrying, drop one word below: ready. As the moon reflects the sun, may your spirit shine brightly in the universe's embrace.